Get ready to quit the build. The QTB crew is rounding up all the gaming news and hot topics of the week with a little extra something. And here are your hosts, Bruno, Brad, and Nick.
Hello and welcome to the QTB podcast. My name is Nick, filling in for Bruno, and with me as always is the one, the only, it is Mr. Meat Church himself. You're only going to understand that if you're watching instead of listening. It is QTB's Brad. What's up, man?
Nick and Brad in the evening. What's going on, Nick? I'm excited to be here. And yes, if you're not watching, that might sound a little bit unique, but if you're watching, you know exactly, or you checked out the pre-show, you know what I'm rocking and you know what that means. So yeah, I'm here, Nick. Let's go, baby. What is on the docket for tonight? What do we got going on?
Yeah, you know, as always, we're going to be kind of getting into the big stories here in a little while. And those stories, Brad, are talking about the Fortnite and Dragon Ball event that is happening right now. And I got to tell you, man, there's a lot to get excited for. I think the only way that I can possibly express my hype for this event is in the form of a jingle. Hit it!
Fortnite has a crossover with Dragon Ball Z.
Nice.
Goku can now get us with an SMG.
I said...
You know, the jingles never fail, Nick. They never fail.
Oh, man.
They always deliver.
And people told me, they're like, oh, it's not Dragon Ball Z, it's Dragon Ball Super, right? Because that's where the blue hair, Goku comes from. And I'm like, yes, I know. This was finally my excuse to get to use the Dragon Ball Z theme song in a jingle. Let me have my moment.
No objections over here, Nick. I'm with it, dude. As always, top quality jingle. Breaking news through jingle format. Come to Quit the Build. Hit our TikTok. You're always going to get breaking news in a jingle. What's better than that?
It's kind of our thing now, right? And I was just sharing a comment with you and Bruno earlier, or someone was like, this is legitimately the way that like I get my gaming news now, and I'm like, oh man, I think we've just invented like a subgenre of news where like I've seen people do like songify the news. That was a popular thing there for a while. They went very hard with like a lot of topical events, but this is kind of like a bite-sized version of Songify the News. And if you're following us on TikTok, YouTube, you're keeping up with the trends, right?
I mean, what a reason to follow us, right? I mean, I wake up ready, waiting for what your next jingle is going to be each day, because they always are bangers, man. So
I also wake up wondering what my next jingle's going to be, because most of the time I just hear a song or a news article you guys send me and I'm like, oh, yep, write that down, Nick, write that down. And I do. I have a whole little notepad of abandoned jingles. Maybe sometime I should publish that.
I still think your Savage Garden jingle was incredible. I mean, that one's still ringing in my head. So,
yeah.
And Death by Daylight. I mean, come on, like
in the Navy.
Come on, man, incredible. If you're not checking out our TikTok or YouTube, you got to go see those, man. They are just they get stuck in your head, man.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
That's the point. I'm trying to make the earworms. It's what you need on TikTok these days to make it big. So, yeah. Well, anyway, that's our big story. We'll also be getting into MultiVersus. That it has passed 10 million players, which is a huge achievement for the game, especially one that's only in beta. So we'll talk more about what's been happening there with that game. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, Nick, besides the jingles that grace our TikTok every day from you,
right?
What you been up to this week? What do you got? What's been going on in Nick's world?
Yeah, I've been trying to hop on whatever games I can. So my son is absolutely obsessed with Pac-Man, and it's so interesting how like there's certain games that just transcend generations. And whenever he sees any version of Pac-Man on the screen, like he is just immediately like entranced by it. And he wants me to play Pac-Man. Like oftentimes, if I boot up my Xbox or my Switch and he's in the room, he'll come over and he'll look for the Pac-Man logo and point and say Pac-Man, 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 and that's what I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play. That's the only option that's left on the table. It's Dad's playing Pac-Man. So I've been playing a lot of that. I have been jumping into the Namco Pac-Man Museum, which was included in Game Pass. A lot of great Pac-Man titles on there, and I'll tell you the one that I've been really enjoying, Brad, and that is it's called Pac-Man Championship Edition. I want to say it came out for the Xbox 360 at one point. And every Pac-Man game that comes out tries to invent its own little spin on like the on the Pac-Man formula. But this one is a lot of fun. It came out like a while back. I want to say about 10 years ago. And the way that they have it set up so that like it's fast paced, it's time based. So you only have a certain amount of time in the maze. Very speedy. Like by the end of it, the game really starts to ramp up in a fun way. That and varying places like where the pellets are placed. That I'm actually really enjoying it. I've been playing that and more of Pac-Man 99, which is, of course, the Nintendo Switch Battle Royale Pac-Man, which is actually very fun. Like Tetris 99, it takes that Pac-Man formula and finds a way to throw 100 people into the mix to see who can come out on top. It's very frantic and kind of fun to kind of lean into the meta of like the right way to do things and trying to outwit your opponents. So aside from that and a little bit of Kingdom Hearts, that's mostly been kind of my my week in games. Yeah.
Well, the week isn't over. And that's what I'm going to ask you. Are you, because you dropped the news, and I got to ask, are you getting excited for Wave Race 64 to be coming to the Switch?
Oh my gosh, dude, I am so pumped for Wave Race. We had talked about this a few times on the podcast about, Nintendo 64 games in general. But I'll tell you, there is nothing more 90s nostalgic for me, Bruno, or Brad, rather, when I boot up Wave Race and this little ditty hits you right in the face.
Wave Race 64 is coming to Switch.
And Kawasaki's fun to say.
On August 19, we're racing jet skis. It's fun.
Where else am I going to do barrel rolls with dolphins? Oh, yeah.
Dolphin.
Exactly. Man, I am so pumped. Yeah, we actually I put that jingle out within like 2 hours of the press release from Nintendo. And yeah, Wave Race 64 will be coming to Switch this Friday. It's going to be a big day because not only is that coming to Switch, Brad, but also Kirby's Dream Buffet is going to be launching, which is the Kirby Balls game, where it's the unofficial Kirby Balls game as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, are we gonna see you for a few days? You gotta budget some time, right? I mean, this is like next weekend right now. I mean, I can't wait to hear if you get where are you gonna pick your time. I mean, that's a tough choice.
Yeah, we'll see. And I've been doing live streams. I've been doing trying to get some gaming time of my own in. So we'll see when I can squeeze it in. But nonetheless, the nostalgia is strong, and Wave Race really holds up as a racing game. I mean, the water physics. You don't see a whole lot of games, Brad, that really tried to lean into water-based racing, especially on consoles. You did have like the arcade titles like Hydro Thunder, but it's very difficult to get water right, especially in ones where you're reliant on waves in order to actually get air, and they have to be dynamic. They can't just be in one fixed location. So Wave Race really, really broke the mold and made it possible to experience something like that. And to this day, we could probably count on one hand the number of water-based racing games that even come close to capturing the magic that I think Wave Race 64 figured out. And really, it almost seems like they just kind of dropped the mic. They had one sequel for the GameCube, and I don't think it was all that great. And that was kind of the end of the IP. But I don't think it needs sequels, man. I think a one and done's good for Wave Race.
I can tell you this, I've had more fun playing Wave Race than I've actually had being on a jet ski myself in real life. Like,
Yeah.
like I would rather play Wave Race than go ride one myself. So
Right.
if that doesn't tell you, and I went back and looked, and I think it got like a 92 on Metacritic when it was released. Like this game was very successful. You're right. It probably is the most successful like water-based racing game that I can remember. And for the fact that it's coming to the Switch now and folks get to revisit that and have that nostalgia, I mean, that's going to be such an incredible replay, I guess, this weekend.
Yeah, we got Epic Capture Productions saying, "Oh, Hydro Thunder, that was the one." Yeah, that Hydro Thunder was a really fun game. It also still holds up, by the way. And Judas Monk saying that the GameCube version, which I think was called Wave Race something Blue, was really. Yeah, that's the official title. Wave Race something Blue, and whatever it was the only other Wave Race title. GameCube tried to.
Wasn't there a Game Boy version too?
Maybe, but I don't remember. I want to say no. But I didn't even know, like when I did the Diddy Kong Racing video, I didn't even know that there was technically a remaster of it for the DS, but it was effectively the same game. So you learn. We're learning things in real time here on the QTB podcast. But what about you, Brad? What do you got going on this week?
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
I have been kind of on the same train with you said your son is in love with Pac-Man. My son loves Hot Wheels. So whenever I do have a moment I'm trying to hop on and he's around, we're still playing Hot Wheels for the optimized for the Series X, and it is so cool because they've come out some with DLC content with like DC, and then there's some Marvel, and now they added the monster trucks and some courses for that. So now you can race monster trucks and regular cars, and he owns a lot of those, both like the monster trucks and the cars in real life, and so he actually has a few of the cars like that are in the game he owns in real life. And so he'll be like, oh, you got to race as the Tricera truck, or you got to race as the Veloci racer or something like that. So to find that connection between gaming and my son's interests is it makes it fun when we get to sit down and do that for a little bit. So and then I'm getting ready to hop in and check out the Fortnite Dragon Ball Z crossover. I mean, how can you not want to hop in and check that out and see what that's about? So,
oh man, well look, we're going to be talking about that crossover in just a few minutes, but Brad, first of all, we got to talk about the most important crossover of all, which is our crossover with our sponsor, Winner, the official sponsor of the QTB network. And Brad, I got to tell you, Winner is so much more than just live arcade games or claw machines. Some of the best that you can play out there on a smartphone, by the way. But they also have their live arcade games. And this is very important because it's a great way for you to play absolutely free to earn tickets in skill-based games. And they've got all your favorites. They've got Whack-A-Mole, Word Crush, Stack the Blocks, and more. Play the games, you win virtual tickets you can redeem for actual prizes. Brad, I've got some of my prizes right here. I gotta tell you, I got the little Kirby plushie. Okay, I won that with tickets. Oh, I'm not done. I got a whole shipment. I got the Kirby backpack. Are you seeing this? Look at this. My kid is gonna be going to preschool in absolute friggin' style. Come on, Kirby backpack. I'm not done.
Man. Wow.
I'm not done. I got the Kirby automaton. It's in. We got it. Oh my gosh. Come on. I haven't even unpacked. I don't want to. I feel like this is gonna be a collector's item.
You got to play. Well, how can you not play Kirby balls on that? I mean, like that is like the
That's
full
what I'm
meta,
saying.
right? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you got to get decked out on all your Kirby swag, and the story continues.
That's right. But yeah, as always, to our listeners and viewers, your first one is free if you have not played before on the app. Just download today. Use the link currently in the live chat or in our show notes, and you can get to playing now. Again, you get to play until you win. With that first win, it is free, and if you make any purchase as low as $3.99, shipping is free for life. So make sure to stop on by. And again, the link is in the show notes. Also, if you go to their pay site, pay.app.winnerwinner.com, and use promo code Dale, you're going to get a sweet deal with 30% bonus tokens on your next purchase. Thanks, as always, to our friends at Winner. Okay, so we're still in crossover territory here, Brad, and that is our big story for the day. Of course, the Fortnite and Dragon Ball event. I mean, you can't go wrong with this. We knew about this one for a little while. They had put out the big trailer there that was kind of teasing it, and the pictures. We knew something was on the way, and we got this story from Polygon talking about kind of all of the things that we're going to be getting in this event, which is currently live. And man, there are so many things to jump into. First of all, we got the skins, right? So we have access now to Goku, Vegeta, Bulma, and you have to forgive me if I'm not pronouncing this right, Beerus. I want to say that's one of the characters that is part of Dragon Ball Super, and my Dragon Ball knowledge set was strictly the original Dragon Ball Z and maybe the 1 or 2 episodes of Dragon Ball GT that I caught afterwards on Toonami whenever it happened to be on. So we have those skins available. Of course, with that signature cell shaded style that you know and love, with other anime characters that they have incorporated into Fortnite before.
And I
Yeah.
think Goku and they some of them come with that the alternative styles and the built-in charging up emotes. Like there's quite a bit that comes with these skins. You know what I mean, Nick?
hmm Oh yeah, I totally know what you
So
mean. It's you get your money's worth. I mean, look, these skins aren't cheap. Whenever you get these events that come in, it's not going to be all that affordable. But with an IP as big as Dragon Ball Z, they're going to go big. I mean, I was just looking through the other day in Fortnite, and they were, I guess, as like a Marvel event, like every Marvel skin was available to purchase, and I could not believe how long that list was of just about every Marvel character they could get in there, that had a movie, and some that haven't have very thorough representation with not just the skin, but also all the
so,
hundreds
so
of dollars waiting to be spent. Yeah.
that's my question, Nick. With this crossover and this being such a, I think, highly, visible, exciting crossover, where does it rank? Like when we talk about that, you said the shop was just chock full with all the Marvel themed stuff. They've done Star Wars
Mhm.
crossovers. Where does Dragon Ball Z rank, in your opinion, all time on the list of crossovers that Epic has been able to secure for Fortnite?
That is, man, that's a very good question. I mean, it's crazy because we talk more and more about just the definitive nature of Fortnite, of being the premier place for crossovers. I mean, you've had The Walking Dead, you've had NBA. Marshmallow did a crossover. We had a God of War, a friggin' Batman, Stranger Things.
Master
Like, and I
Chief?
mean, yeah, Master Chief's in there. John Wick like all these unexpected, huge events. Of course, yeah, with Marvel and the whole Infinity War, Avengers Endgame. I mean, as far as like what the most memorable was to me, I think it definitely was the Marvel event, because when Infinity War was out, it was just Marvel madness. And that's fun. That's a good one, Marvel madness.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to our Atari interviews there on QTB Legends. But yeah, it's that event when it culminated with that limited time mode where one person could get the glove and become Thanos, right, and get these just crazy powers, and seeing that person on the screen, just absolutely wrecking the map. It really upped the stakes and took such a well known and established villain and gave you a chance to play as them. I had never been more hyped for a crossover than when that opportunity came across. So I think that's
But when you
peak for
talk
me.
about OP, like, opportunities, like, yes, when you become Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, that was pretty OP, but I'm seeing some clips already of when I think you can get and I'm gonna butcher how you say it. Is it Goku's energy beam,
The
the
Kamehameha.
Kama? Yeah,
Yeah.
that looks OP as heck, man. I mean, that looks like
Yeah.
you get that and you can just annihilate people. I mean, this beam pierces through building structures. It does ridiculous damage, and you can just take out people in one shot. It looks incredible.
Right. Yeah. No, it's an insane item. It has a big wind up, so it makes it kind of challenging for you to figure out opportune moments to actually use it. And not only that, you're also getting the Nimbus Cloud that you can locate, that kind of akin to like the jetpack, right? Where it's this additional travel tool that you get, and you can just kind of scoot all over. And that is such a fun nod that they were able to find things that make sense to use practically within the world of Fortnite. Mixed in with all the usual gunplay and mechanics. It's still just I had poked fun at it there with the jingle about the concept of Goku needing to utilize any kind of weaponry when this man can just go absolutely ham, and could probably deflect bullets with his bare chest. But here we are in
Well,
2022.
or when he gets a win and then can do
It's the
I don't know.
gritty. That's the meme going around of
like
like Goku gets the win and hits the gritty.
Like, I mean,
Oh,
where else
man.
do you get that?
Yeah.
That is what, like you said, it is where Fortnite rules all, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that those moments where you get to do that and have that happen is that's what makes these crossovers so special.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, I'm looking right now at a list of the top grossing IPs of all time, and there are only 5 that break the $50 billion mark, and many of them are just timeless, like Winnie the Pooh. Right? It's been around for almost 100 years. We have Star Wars up there, no surprise. Hello Kitty, Pokemon topping the list. But then you go down, and in the top 10. You've got the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right, which already got the crossover for Fortnite. Okay, you have Star Wars at 70 billion, already got the crossover, and now down here is Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball as a franchise, starting in 1984, is worth $30 billion. That is no joke.
Wow.
You think about the importance of Dragon Ball to just media in general, because we were at a time, and this is kind of going back to the Toonami days and the back in my day rants that we tend to go on. And as my now receding hairline will show you, I've got some stories to tell. And one of them is, the glory days of Toonami, because I distinctly remember my dad talking about how, back in the day, one of my older sisters would put Speed Racer on. There was some channel that would put Speed Racer on. It was one of the very first animes that got brought over to the States. And he always talk about like how annoying it was, because they didn't really westernize it correctly with the voiceovers, and they were very, very frantic sounding voices that tried to keep up with the movements of the mouth. And the result was this just a hectic thing it was a hot mess. But then you had these shows like Sailor Moon and Gundam Wing and eventually Dragon Ball Z. That even though Dragon Ball also got an adaptation with the Western voiceovers, that Dragon Ball Z really elevated things to a new level in terms of episodic content that really, especially with that age range they were going for, man. I mean, to this day, there is still such a passionate fan base for Dragon Ball, and the content that's being put out. Still motion pictures that are actually getting like theatrical releases, that you can only see them in certain theaters for like a limited amount of time. That this franchise is far from dead, right? So it just seems like, like I said, this is a list of the top grossing IPs. If they can find a way to get the Pokemon crossover and give Pikachu an assault rifle.
I mean, I thought you were going for Winnie the Pooh there. When you said Winnie the Pooh's #1, I was like,
we got that horror movie coming out, so he probably will have will be wielding some kind of weaponry.
It's true. You never know. What else is on the list? What's in the top 5, Nick? What could be for Epic's next play?
Yeah, so like I said, the Pokemon top grossing franchise of all time. No surprise there, almost $120 billion. Hello Kitty is the number 2. As much as we've talked about Hello Kitty Island Adventure, maybe we can get Sanrio to get Hello Kitty and friends. I mean, there's a whole Hello Kitty universe out there, Brad, of characters. Let's get him in there and let him let him duke it out for glory.
Yeah. I wouldn't put anything past Epic at this point. I think they'll always find a way to bring in those crossovers that really, I think it's another way you keep gamers engaged and coming back to the platform, coming back to the game, because it's not just about playing solo or duos or squads. It's almost like a fashion statement. Oh, I gotta grab the new skin, I gotta rock it. Some people believe in new skin mantra, right? You get a new skin, you pick up a couple dubs. Like there's a whole thing to it, right? And let's not talk about the cash flow side of it, right? I mean, they're just rolling in the dough with these crossovers. I'm curious to understand what goes behind the scenes when they get to that contract situation, right? Putting on the business hat for a second. How do they approach these franchises, these large IPs, to even begin that conversation of, we want to bring your characters into Fortnite, right? What type of presentation, what type of compensation do you have to throw at them to get them interested, right?
Yeah. Oh, I have to imagine this was a gargantuan crossover. But like we were saying before, like if you can get Star Wars, which is much higher on the list, if Fortnite definitely has the business acumen to get that ink penned. and get a deal that is agreeable to everybody, because and for most of these IPs, it's just a matter of like, just sign the line, get the check, and Fortnite's going to handle everything. That most of the time they're gonna take maybe some of your assets, but they're gonna create these skins for you and create this world based on the content that you've already created. So it's
Well, Nick,
it was a no brainer.
I know that you or we launched a poll, right? Earlier with our listeners,
That's right. I'm
right?
glad you mentioned this.
Can we check in?
Yes.
Can we announce what's the poll? What was the question and what were our choices and where do we
Of
stand?
course. So one of the perks of joining us during our live streams, Brad, is that you get to participate in the live poll that we have going as the episode is going on. A great way to contribute to our episode. So I asked, which part of the Fortnite and Dragon Ball event are you most excited for? We had quite a few votes, and a little over half, 54%, said the actual Dragon Ball skins. That's not. I figured that would probably be our first place answer. 20% said the Dragon Ball themed items, right? The Kamehameha and the Nimbus Cloud. But we also had some votes for some of the other features that we haven't mentioned yet, which are the Dragon Ball Adventure Island and the Episode Festival. So the Adventure Island is going to be a whole Dragon Ball themed area that you can go to for a limited time. They do this with a lot of these new, content, rather than just having like a little section on the map. And they will do that sometimes. They just kind of give you your own little world to go explore and hang out with your friends. And this will be a Dragon Ball themed kind of a theme park, if you will. But the one I'm excited for, and this is where Fortnite really seems to be getting leaps and bounds ahead of any other concept of like the metaverse, as abstract as it still is, which is the Episode Festival, which is you can hop into this kind of cruise ship area that has a theater that is playing, I think it's like 5 episodes of Dragon Ball Super on rotation, that you can just hang out with your friends in real time and consume this anime together and chat and hang out and dance and whatever. And again, between that, and they've done this before with other content with like Star Wars or whatever, and also the live metaverse concerts that they've had, right? Ariana Grande, just to name one, Marshmello. That, man, I mean, it's just it's so interesting how Fortnite has evolved into from a wildly successful battle royale to a media platform. It really is all you can call it, and I think that like I said before, I think the closest thing to an accurate representation of the metaverse that we've seen so far that people actually want to get into. I'm sorry, Mark, Mr. Zuckerberg, it's not panning out, buddy. I've seen what you call the metaverse, and it's rough around the edges. But I mean, Fortnite, I get excited to jump in and check out a concert or check out a live event, right?
Yeah, I think Epic's really found the balance between innovation and also constructive feedback. Because it's one thing to innovate without any type of foundation to what your gamer base is saying, right? So it's just like, we're pushing this. This is where we're going. Sorry, right?
Yeah.
They found a balance of always saying we're going to kind of carve out these new areas of the game and new ways to experience the content, right? It's not always about a build sweat fest. Now they've got no build modes. They've got these no sweat, more entertainment world, like immersive experiences. But they've also taken feedback from their gamers along the way to tweak the game and the gameplay a bit, that really, I think, at times, and you've seen through different seasons, can ebb and flow to keep the game fresh. So, I agree with you. I think there's so much to digest that even with a new crossover comes a plethora of ways to immerse yourself in that content. It's not just a quick money grab with a skin or two. There's all these different avenues to explore, earn points, earn additional cosmetic items. And that's a rewarding experience. You're going in, immersing yourself, and then getting things back. I mean, that makes you feel good at the end of the day. So I'm with you. I mean, that's what keeps me coming back. I mean, it's so fun to hop on, play with a few friends, us all pick up a different skin, roll as a crew, right? If everyone picks up a different skin, then we all roll as the crew. Like Bruno and I a while back picked up Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. So we were playing as Silk Sonic, right? So of course Bruno was Bruno Mars and I rolled as Anderson .Paak, but that's the point, right? It adds a different layer of bonding and an experience when you're playing with others as well. So I'm with you. I think it's another it's going to be another successful crossover at the end of the day. When they look at the numbers, this is probably going to be one of their most successful because of the notoriety and what you said earlier about the impact about this anime series coming and being, successful here in the Western world.
Yeah. If there was going to be one big anime series to finally secure that big Fortnite crossover, I think most people would agree Dragon Ball would be the one to do it. So, a lot to get excited for, and the event's live now. So, you hop on in and get that power level up, get it over 9,000, get them Dragon Balls, and get some. That's what you can do. That you can raise your power level. The memes are there.
Hey, Nick, you know where else our listeners should hop on and get leveled up in?
Whoa, where's that?
Our Patreon. You want to tell them about it?
Hey, there it is. Oh man, we need a segue. There it is. Okay. Thank you, as always, to our Patreon supporters, like our QTB and Fuego supporters, Epic Capture Productions, Matt.Bat, and Alexa, and our QTB Plus supporters, Nick, the Dudist Monk, Indie Gamiacs, Alan Abadessa, Mr. Grove Games, The Intergalactic Pinecone, Fluffy Bunny, and Kawaii Potato. If you would like to directly support the network and all the amazing, family-friendly content we create here on Quit the Build, that's one of the best ways to do it is Patreon. Tier start as low as $2 a month gets you access to our pre and post show that you can only hear either on the live stream or on Patreon afterwards. And we had a pretty good pre-show. That was a substantial one. So you don't want to miss that. Also, our QTB Nostalgia Vault. Brad, this month we're talking about arcade games. We're asking our supporters about their favorite arcade games of past and present. We've gotten some really good answers, so I'm excited to jump into that. You can't go wrong. And of course, the $5 tier and up, you're going to get the shout outs. You're going to get the merch. I'm telling you, man, join the QTB crew on Patreon. It is the way to go, right?
And as Bruno says, it helps us keep the lights on, so we really appreciate it.
There you go. He does say that, and he is not wrong. Again, that is at Quit the Build, or rather patreon.com/quitthebuild. The link will be in the description. All right. So our second story, and this one, look, MultiVersus, it seems like no matter where you go in the gaming space right now, the conversation is on this game. All eyes are on it. Of course, this is WB's kind of answer to the IP smash-ups that we've seen from, of course, Nintendo kind of breaking the mold with Super Smash Brothers, but even Nickelodeon jumping into the fray as of late. And this story from IGN that MultiVersus has passed 10 million players. The online platform fighter just continues to get bigger and bigger every day. It hasn't even left beta, though, even Fortnite has been loose with that term for a very long time. We've got season 1. It was delayed, but I believe it is about to start, or maybe has started already. And, they've really... They've jumped into it, man. It's just like I'm seeing nonstop YouTube content. A competitive scene has kind of formed around it already. And it seems like, for better or for worse in terms of the actual game itself, that people are responding to the free-to-play model pretty positively. And I know we've talked about our experiences with the game in varying capacities. But, it's such an interesting thing, Brad, because it seemed like nobody was going to step up and try and do what Smash did on the level that they did. And now we're finally seeing some really solid attempts, I think, from WB to say, man, if we've got IPs to boot for days and days, let's just throw them all in there and see how people respond to it. What has your perception been of it so far? And do you think that they're going to be able to maintain this momentum?
Your last statement is the key. I think there is an over-exceeding level of a solid foundation. I think the initial reception and what we're seeing so far with the amount of players in this huge beta launch, we'll call it, is very indicative of what could be long-term. And I think what really sets them up for success is having that plethora of IPs to continue to leverage. I think what we're seeing right now is it needs time to grow. There's a limited selection of stages and characters that I think right now will get a little fatigued if they don't continue to roll things out periodically to help feel like a natural evolution.
Yeah.
But to have something be so well received and it be fun, like it just feels fun. Like it's not something that's overly complex to play. Again, the 2v2 concept is really unique. I think that really opens the door to a lot of casual and competitive gamers is kind of a pick up and play nature, but like
Yeah.
you can really start to hone in on your pairs and who you want to be and how you your play style. I think it offers a lot to a wide demographic with a lot of potential to be something pretty massive going forward. So
Yeah.
my take is solid, rock solid start, good foundation. Let's see how they nurture it and grow it as time goes on.
Yeah. I'm gonna give a take here that is uncommon for me because I usually try to be the optimist here on the show and just by my mentality in general, and that is I don't like MultiVersus. I'm just gonna go ahead and put my foot in the sand here, and it has nothing
Can we
to
get
do
the
with
breaking news sound?
that. I mean, it's pretty bad, right? Hold on.
Oh my.
Yeah, because the
There we
announcer
go.
is shocked. Because look, okay, I love the concept behind it. You know, I anytime that someone tries, like I said, tries to step up and replicate the Smash formula, I try to support it how I can. I did purchase Nickelodeon All Star Brawl, even got a couple of the DLC characters. Even though I'm not crazy about the game, I want to see more of it. And like I said, we've talked about this on past episodes about how they've responded to player feedback. They've added in characters that people want. They've added voice acting to the game. It didn't have it. They added items to the game. It didn't have it previously. So I've seen good, a positive direction from the studio that is making All Star Brawl. But I'm telling you, my issue with MultiVersus is the gameplay is not fun to me. I'm probably a Smash snob in terms of like I want to play a game that feels like Smash in most capacities, and I don't want too much variation from it because I'm so used to that gameplay loop. And I understand that not every game should, in order to be successful, should be trying to just recreate something else. But at the end of the day, if you're going to make a game that has, almost every mechanic is exactly what Smash is, right? You're building a meter that makes people get launched further. They can get ring outs, above to the side. They can fall. You have spike style attacks that can launch people down. You've got special attacks. You got aerial abilities to recover. Obviously this is a Smash clone, and that's what I'm going to judge it as. I don't like the gameplay. It doesn't feel satisfying to make contact. The hitboxes seem very wonky right now, where it never quite feels like I'm hitting something. If I go to like input, whatever the equivalent of a smash attack is, it doesn't always feel like it charges the way that I want it to. There's just a lot right now happening with it where I don't come out of a game feeling like I've enjoyed the combat that I've experienced. And it's something that I'm kind of honing in my opinion on the more that I play it. And I'm kind of waiting for the different characters in the free rotation to become available so I can try those and think, well, maybe it's just the character I'm playing and not necessarily the game itself. But, there's no items. There's no final Smash equivalent like there is in Super Smash Brothers that lets a character really have its signature, the thing that they do. The roster is kind of limited and most of it is pretty severely paywalled. So honestly, right now, Brad, my take on it is it's kind of a wait and see game rather than, hey, this is a go-to that I'm going to be playing time and time again. What about you?
Well, just to counter your point, I mean, I think you have every right to hold it in the comparison to Smash, but Smash has such a maturity in terms of its stay in the industry and in the and with gamers and experience, right? So
Yeah.
Multiverse is as super green, right? I mean, so I would argue it's a little unfair to hold that regard or hold that standard to a game this early on. I think you need to give it time to see if it can rise to that level over time. I mean,
Yeah.
did you feel that way about Smash right away? I mean, your opinion of Smash you've had years to cultivate that perspective, right? And you've got
Yeah.
a month or so to give a hot take on Multiverses. So I see where you're going, and I don't think you're wrong. But I think like you said, you have to wait and see to really be able to maybe validate that take completely.
Yeah. Oh, no, for sure. And that's my mindset of like, it's a free to play game. It's not like I'm just going to write it off and never come back to it. There's always going to be that possibility of, oh, let me see this new character they added in, or let me see what the free, characters on rotation are and try something new. But
do you think if they offered a 1v1v1v1 mode, like a instead of a 2v2, do you think that would be something that would be intriguing to you to actually really be like Smash?
No, I usually when I play Smash, I either play 1v1 or 2v2. So I don't really see that wouldn't change it for me. Like the free for all style that Smash offers, I rarely play in that style. And again, like I like the concepts that they're adding into it. I love the idea of having different role-based characters that can synergize well with each other, and the ability to customize your character and give it a little bit more of a personal touch. It's just the game feel is so important in a fighting game, or in more of a party style fighting game that we get like this. And it doesn't feel very tight right now, but it is a beta, and yeah, I'm going to be kind of monitoring to see what changes do they make. Are they able to kind of dial it in a little bit more and just make it more satisfying to play? The 2v2 fights, it's just such a chaotic mess because the stages are very small. And that creates these very hectic environments where like every character has these team-based mechanics that you're supposed to be using, but there's the sensory overload of just button mashing to the point that, at least for me, and I am far from a pro fighting game player, but for the everyman like myself, it can be very difficult to appreciate and really flesh out the mechanics that are being put in front of us. So we'll see. And, one kind of article that I do want to point out here, Brad, is there are some really encouraging things and this is just a leak. It may not be confirmed, but this story also coming from IGN.com, suggesting that MultiVersus may have a progression sharing feature. And what this leak is showing is that there is a Battle Pass partner system built into the game, where if they choose to use it, what would happen is you purchase the battle pass, and you have the ability to invite one friend to join you in that battle pass. They will get access to the tiers, they get access to the perks, and they help you to progress that battle pass so you get to do it together. Now, I think that is genius, because when you have a 2v2 fighting game that really you want to have a partner that knows what's up so that you can go to war, I think that's such a genius way to encourage people to play it not only more often, but play it together, especially if you can bring in a buddy for free, right?
I think it's really clever and it's something unique to that game, right? Not every game can adopt or mimic that, right? Like I think there's not many out there that could say, well, we're gonna take that battle pass, concept and apply it to our game. So I think that could be something unique to MultiVersus, and you're right. It could bring a level of commitment to playing the game, not just as an individual, but with someone else week in and week out to benefit and really take full advantage of that partner battle pass concept.
Yeah,
I agree. I think it's really clever. I think it's a really clever idea.
Like if someone said to me, "Oh, hey, I've got a spare spot on my my battle pass. Do you want to join me?" I mean, that's going to increase the likelihood that I would download, play that game, check it, and just kind of get looped into the ecosystem that MultiVersus has. And I know Bruno talked a lot about on past episodes about just the incredibly long list of IPs that WB has access to. The list just goes on and on that they can potentially pull from. And we already know they're not afraid to do that, right? I mean, you've got LeBron friggin' James already in there just because of his involvement in, of course, the new Space Jam movie. We've got a Game of Thrones character in there. From what I've heard, they even day one wanted to have Gandalf from Lord of the Rings in there, but they didn't quite get him in time. So, and we know Rick and Morty characters are on the way. Like the longer that this game can be successful and financially viable, the more wacky that this roster is going to get. And I'll tell you, there are little touches in here, Brad, that I like. There are little quips that like different characters will get in depending on who they fight. Like if Bugs Bunny fights Arya Stark and wins, like in the post game, he'll give a very specific kind of joke that's directed at her, where it feels the world, this universe that they're building feels alive, and I want to see more of it. I do wonder, will they be able to keep the momentum, keep the hype going, because the fighting game community, especially when it comes to balance and the speed at which you release content, they can be very critical in this era of easy access to developers. So I do wonder how they'll be able to cope.
I think they need to continue to land the celebrities for voice recordings when they can too, because I know they got
Yes.
like Matthew Lillard for Shaggy, and they got Maisie Williams for Arya Stark. So if you can continue to bring in other characters that will be voiced and reprised by their said voice actors, that adds to the legitimacy of the game and to the quality of the voice banter you're going to get between characters, right? So
Right.
I think that's another lever they have. WB has to kind of really maximize this is keep those voiceover actors consistent. If you can bring those folks in from the shows and have them, reprise their characters in this format, I think that's another win. That's another feather in their cap.
Yeah. We have Epic Capture Productions saying in chat, innovation has to start somewhere. If they know what they're doing, they'll take advice from QTB. That's right. We're man, the amount of freebies we hand out on this show, Brad, it's it's like consultation and and a conversation.
Shout out to Bruno Stojamus, right? How many times has he predicted things that have since forth happened and become true in the gaming world?
That's right. Yeah. He definitely calls it. And we have Dudas Monk saying, at least it won't just be 20 different Fire Emblem characters. That's actually a really good observation, and it's definitely one of the bigger faults, I think, of the Smash franchise, is that despite having access to such a wide range of characters and IPs that are Nintendo Direct, their first party for Nintendo, they don't need to go and shell out the big bucks to really make it happen. They do seem to lean on certain IPs way more than are necessary. And that was always a big gripe, is that Fire Emblem got such a massive amount of representation in the Smash roster. I want to say at least a dozen characters, compared to any other. I mean, of course, Mario's franchise has a large quantity as well. But the Fire Emblem series, as a whole, not really a very big arrow, I think, in Nintendo's quiver, but nonetheless, just gets fighter after fighter after fighter. So I get that perspective of like, man, and I've been there too, where a new Smash reveal comes out and it's like, oh my god, it's another Fire Emblem character. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I can't even differentiate between like the 8 you have now, and you're giving me another one with the same hair color and the same sword, but it's someone different, I guess. That's just me.
So Nick, maybe kind of playing on your experience. You mentioned earlier that you have the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl as well, or what's that called?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got it, All-Star Brawl. Yep.
How would you compare, I guess, that initial character list and what they've been able to bring to the table to what you see with the WB's future and their IPs? Like, is there something with what WB could bring to MultiVersus that would really get you excited, or do you feel like you gravitate more towards the IPs that Nickelodeon had on their platform?
That's a good question. The problem, I think, Brad, is that a lot of these characters don't lend themselves well to fighting. You've got these silly characters that are being mashed up with more serious ones, right? Where you've got Bugs Bunny, who's launching Acme pies and all that kind of thing, versus like I said, Arya Stark and other kind of more serious-minded characters. Whereas Nickelodeon, they're all wacky. They're all out there. There's no the theme is very consistent. And I think we have to look.
But wasn't like Aang on All-Star Brawl though, from Avatar: Last Airbender? I mean, he to me seems like a natural fighting. Him, and
that's true.
There's a few from that show that I feel like makes sense to be in a fighting game, right?
Yeah, where the important thing is that when you have those characters that don't really make sense to be fighters, like you come up with fun ways to make them fighters. I think of like Isabelle from Animal Crossing, who is the most just docile creature in the world, but still, is because of the things that she's doing. Like one of her smash attacks is she sets off a party popper, and then it's much stronger than she anticipated. Where she didn't mean to hurt anybody, but she still did. Like Tom and Jerry, okay? Tom and Jerry are a great example of this in MultiVersus, because their attacks, Tom is not trying to hurt the other person on the screen. Tom is trying to get Jerry but ends up hurting the other person because Jerry always gets away at the last second. Like he'll go for the mallet, he'll try to hit Jerry, and then Jerry scampers away, and now he's hitting somebody else instead. I love those little nods to the series in clever ways. When you can sit down at the drawing table and say, okay, well, how do we create a character that's true to their IP and is violent or non-violent in their own ways, while still letting them participate in this brawling game. There's a lot of unique ways you can approach it. But I think to answer your question, Brad, the most important thing is, if you're going to replicate the Smash formula, replicate it all the way. Find the ways to get in those. It doesn't have to be a final Smash, but a special attack of some sort that really lets that character unleash something very special that steals the show and gets people's attention. Let us get items. That's a very important part of these party brawler style games. When you have your ranked modes, you can always take those away. I understand they add random components that don't make it fair, but let it be unfair for the players that want it to be. If you can Smash, like when the odds are stacked against you and you get the hammer drops or the star drops, and all of a sudden you're just a force of nature for a few seconds. It's fun to see the tide turn. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the thrilling moments you wait for, like that you hope for as a gamer, right?
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. Let them happen.
There you go. We also have Dudas Monk saying a Hanna-Barbera brawler would be hilarious. Nothing's off the table, man. Yeah, Yogi Bear versus George Jetson, absolutely. People would eat that up these days. If Nickelodeon can do it, then they certainly can too. And that's the trend, right? A lot of these companies are trying to figure out how to leverage their universe of IPs and in this gaming style. The more successful WB is, I think, the more with the freemium model, the more that others, I think, will put more consideration into jumping in and joining the fray. So, well, hey, great discussion there as always, and we'll see how MultiVersus plays out. And of course, Brad, I have to mention, thanks as always to Pierce Unlimited for making this podcast possible. For marketing media that works and bespoke design to power your business, visit pierceunlimited.com. And of course, make sure to check out our website. That is quitthebuild.com. We've got a lot of great stuff going on there. We just had on our blog, Brad, we had a great review from one of our bloggers, Justin, who did an article about one of the new games from Annapurna, I think that's how you pronounce it, Interactive, called Hindsight, one of those narrative style games that really can be very emotionally gripping, and his adventure through that. So you check out that review, and of course, get into that merch page. That's where you get that swag. That is Squad Swag. I have to really slow that down to get it right on my first try. A lot of great merch in there.
Got to put out a disclaimer now. It's already mid-August, folks. Get your QTB Christmas swag now. That way you have it and can rock it all holiday season. We've got it on there. You want it. Here's your friendly reminder. It's mid-August. It's time to start. Fall's around the corner, which means Christmas is coming. You got to get that Christmas QTB swag. Right, Nick?
Just like that. Summer's gone, man. It's great. We advertised that. If we looked at like the number of individual products we've plugged on the store, the Christmas sweater is probably the one we've tried to sell more than anything else. It's year round, man. You got to get that. Yeah, you're right. Because people always say, it's, I don't know, they get back order when you get close to like December. So you really want to have it now. Be ready to go. But yeah, great little sweater there, and all sorts of other great merchandise as well. And hey, make sure to get on that community page. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We have the TikTok. Lots of great content there, and different platforms have certain bits of media that typically you're only going to see on that platform. So there's a lot of things happening, kind of in the QTB cinematic universe, and of course our ever engaging Kirby Balls saga. Of course, what's going to happen next. We've had all sorts of twists and turns there. People asking. I don't know if you guys noticed, I put up a poll in the latest Kirby Balls video where you get to decide what happens next. I don't know if anybody paid attention to that. You might wanna put in your 2 cents about what's gonna happen. But yeah, that's what we got going on in the QTB universe. I miss anything, Brad?
No, I think you hit it. You did a great job, Nick. I got nothing else to say.
Well, then I guess there's only one thing to say, Brad, and that is until next time, For Brad, I'm Nick.
And for Nick, I'm Brad.
You know what he says. Say it. Say it, Brad. Say the thing.
Peace out. What it do?